It's His Family, Chapter 2, by Reality Check. Shining Armor was mad. Princess Cadenza was mad. Twilight was fuming. Nyx, she was so scared. Sick. The moment Shining Armor had clapped eyes on her, he called his guard. Again, you would think Shining wouldn't immediately start doing this, that he would be angry and upset at her, sure, but you think he would think for a few minutes. They come at a gallop, 6 stern, huge-legged stallions of gleaming crystal armor, who fell at step on either side of her, Spike and her mother. Shining Armor had ordered them to escort Twilight Sparkle, Spike, and the Foal to the petitioner's chamber and watch over them. The unsmiling guards promptly led them down to the castle, down stark, glittering halls, past more stony-faced guards. In growing panic, Nyx forgot what escort meant. She hoped it didn't mean the same as arrest. In petitioner's chamber. What was that? She slunk lower and lower under the guard's accusing glare, until she watched until she looked nothing but a hat with feet. As it turned out, the petitioner's chamber wasn't a dungeon cell, much to Nyx's relief. It was a large, clean, and somewhat bare room lined with benches and a few amenities laid on the tables. It meant for people waiting to petition the princess for one thing or another. It didn't help much, though, when the door was locked behind him, and all 6 of the guards took post around the room, watching their every move. Nyx's mood had sunk further into the gloom at this. What had she done now? She was so distressed she crawled under one of the tables and curled up there, afraid to move. Twilight, on the other hand, got madder and madder with each passing minute. When Shining Armor and Cadence finally made an appearance nearly an hour later, she proceeded to beat her brother about the head and shoulders of her saddlebags. "What the buck do you think you're doing?" she yelled, telekinetically wailing him upside the head. Shining Armor didn't reply. It was too busy saying words like, "Ow! Oof! Jeez!" One of the guards stepped away from his post, advancing aggressively. "Cease and desist! That's the consort prince of the Crystal Empire!" Twice saw him a glare that would have blown out the cockatrice's eyeballs. "Oh, yeah? Well, I'm his sister." "You think you would have noticed this?" The guard considered his options. "As you were," he said, stepping back to the wall. Clay gave her brother a couple more whacks, just for the therapeutic effect. Laura's dropping the saddlebag to the floor. "What did you think you were doing, you idiots? Calling the guards on us, locking us in a room!" She pointed at Nyx. "You scared your niece half to death!" Shining Armor reared back, temper flaring. "That thing is not—" He started in a low tone before Twilight's hoof whipped out and corked his mouth. She spoke just as quietly as he did. "Finish that sentence, brother dear, and I'll ram a flugelhorn so far up your rear end that I'll be able to honk it by squeezing your nose." Shining Armor wisely stood up. "She is not a thing. She is a pony. Her name is Nyx. She is also my daughter, which makes her your niece. I brought her up here in hopes you would actually get to know her instead of just resenting her for her past." Her tone softened a hair. "We all gave Luna the benefit of the doubt. Don't you think Nyx deserves at least that much?" Kay stood aside and watched the whole exchange. She now stepped in, sighing in aggravation. Her face was just as stern as Shining Armor's had been. "Twilight, we do understand what you're trying to do here," she said, "but you put us in a terrible bind." "What do you mean?" Twilight scowled, still angry, but put it off her stride. "No matter how you feel about Nyx, the fact remains she is Nightmare Moon. Don't give me that look, you know well that's the truth. And she's effectively a convicted criminal, one out on parole, one you just transported across national borders. We never discussed the sovereignty of the Crystal Empire." Twilight's face became suffused with shock. "I see you're figuring it out," Princess Kate said stiffly. "Technically, death forfeited her parole, and by doing it, you might have committed a felony yourself. By my duties as Princess of the Crystal Empire, I could throw her in the dungeon right now." Twilight's face was a portrait of shattered trust. "Cadence, you wouldn't." "Of course I wouldn't," Cadence said with tusk. The closest he ever came to snapping at anyone. "It's me, Twilight, remember? I would never do something like that." She looked at the frightened Alcorn filly hiding under the table. Her stern expression softened a touch. "I'm hardly frightened of a powerless little foal, but there are ponies watching all the time. Ponies from the Empire and from Equestria. Troublemakers who would insist I do my royal duty." Here she made quotes in the air, rolling her eyes. "And lock up the scary nightmare menace. Just to try to get me over a barrel when I wouldn't. "You're not gonna lock me up?" came the faint question. Kate heard a tiny bell-like voice and looked over to where Nix was hiding. So you could see two glowing cat-like, and very afraid-looking, eyes in the shadows under the table. "Of course not," Kane said, years of babysitting softening her voice. "Didn't Winter Bells we established that Nix had a way of disguising herself?" Oh, I'm sorry, this isn't a intelligent fic written by a writer who actually knows what he's doing. This is written by a moron! "I don't throw little fillies in jail. Even if I was that mean, can you imagine how bad that would make me look? Come on now." Reluctantly, Nix crawled from her hiding space, wincing and donning her sunglasses and hat as she came out into the light. A part of Keynes chuckled at the sight of the tiny filly in the enormous sunglasses and hat. Keynes was still wary, but if this was just Nightmare Moon putting on a hat, then she studied under the masters. For now, her gut said filly. She'd go with it. For now. Besides, she was pretty sure she could take this Nightmare Moon in a fair fight. Twilight was getting distressed. "Oh, I'm so sorry, Keynes," she fretted. "I feel like such a fool. Maybe Celestia can smooth things over." "Hopefully she will when the official report arrives," Shining Armor said grimly. "We can't afford any more political—" He realized Twilight was glaring out, fiery and frantic. "What? Is it just me or is Shining Armor dumber here?" "You filed an official report?" Twilight shouted. "It's going to be on a permanent record. There'll be inspections, inquiries, and nasty officials little ponies with ink while getting marching. Wait. It'll take at least a day to write a care lot, right? Maybe I can write Princess Celestia and— Spike! You! Spike said, popping by her elbow. Pull a scroll and quill off the nearby tables. "Let me guess. Dear Princess Celestia—" Before he could put quill to paper, he grimaced and cut loose enormous belts. A scroll with the royal seal appeared in midair. He grabbed it out of the air. "Yep, for Princess Celestia," he said. Twilight bit her lip. "Go ahead and read, Spike," she said. Spike nodded and unrolled it. A second official-looking document fell out. He caught one claw and handed it over to Twilight. He started reading the first scroll. "My most faithful student, I fear I may have had some egg in my face. In respect to your recent summons to the Crystal Empire to aid in library reconstruction, I realize I may have made an oversight. It occurred to me that you would most likely be traveling with Nyx, and my sister pointed out that Nyx's legal status as a parolee would make doing so a felony. It was with some embarrassment that we consulted our legal advisors and had Nyx's status revised for parolee to time served, along with a tremendous amount of legal jargon explaining why this made sense, of course. This should prevent any legal problems when you arrive at Crystal Empire today, and make Nyx visit your extended family a little less stressful. Enclosed are the official documents, just gives them to Keynes. I've already filed duplicates, and yes, this will nullify any reports subsequently filed, say as of 2 hours ago. Sincerely, Princess Celestia." "Oh, well," Spike said. "She's good." He looked at the scroll and turned it over. "Whoops, here's the postscript. Dear Spike, 3rd and I am. Celestia." This is the thing I hate worst about reality checks, this work, is that sometimes you can actually make me laugh. Spike's eyes glazed over for a moment. Ugh. Twilight deflated like a balloon. "Oh, thank you, Celestia," she said, nicely pressing the document over to Keynes. Keynes chuckled and rolled the paper up, tucking it under her wing. "That's Auntie for you," she said. "Closest thing she has to a hobby. Would you like to go to your rooms now? We have a guest suite connecting to our living quarters." "Yes, we would." Twilight picked up her saddlebags and swatted Shining Armor across the head again. "Ow! Hey! Man, I should have worn a freaking helmet. Ow!" Shining tried to duck. "What now?" "You idiot! You filed a guard report on an 8-year-old filly!" She beamed him again. The beams were obviously going to continue until Twilight's morale improved. Nick suddenly yanked, eyes going round right behind her sunglasses. He suddenly remembered something. "Mommy, wait, the bags!" Spike caught the drift as he waved his claws frantically. "Twilight, stop! The luggage! You—" There was a split second too late. Well, tremendous fold! Twilight's saddlebags exploded. In the blink of an eye, Prince Shining Armor, consort prince of the Crystal Empire, was buried under a pile of real-large luggage. Keynes, Twilight, Nyx, Spike, even Pee-wee still perched on Nyx's hat, kept in astonishment. There was a brief silence. Shining groaned from somewhere under the massive luggage. Twilight didn't miss a beat. "We can just bring our luggage to our rooms, big brother," she said, and turned on her heel and left the room, nose in the air. Nyx decided discretion was the better part of valor. She ran up, grabbed the handle of the travel bag with her teeth. "Okay, calling my own." Spike was right behind her. Yeah, I got this one. Thanks. The two ran out the door. Under the remaining luggage, Saigon muttered to himself. That mare could make T-Rex himself pay out his chariot when he saw her coming. Chapter 3. I'm sorry, Shiny, Twilight said. She was generally contrite, with a bit miffed. But you really did make me angry. I never would have guessed, Shining said from where he was sitting. He had an ice pack to his head, a disgruntled look on his face. Twilight sighed and cast her eyes heavenwards. Can you blame me? I brought Nix here in the hopes of smoothing things out over between us all. I was hoping for a happy reunion with a little reconciliation, and what do I get? Armed guards pouncing on us! I had to do it, Shining said tensely, whether I wanted to or not. I guess he was going to overthrow your kingdom, Shiny, Twilight said. She's right, Twilight. King said over a cup of tea. If it wasn't for you or Nix's benefit, it was a benefit of whoever was watching or keeping track. Like I said before, we have a lot of, well, I don't call them enemies. Let's say political pests. He put on a show of properly handling the dangerous criminal, so they would have a harder time of using the news of your arrival to their advantage. Again, disguise spell. Royal quarters were surprisingly cozy. They were fairy spaces, yes, and elegantly appointed, but they weren't much larger than the rooms one would find to your typical upper-class house in Ponyville or Carolina. A drawing room, study, bedrooms, bathrooms, even a small kitchen, or a private laundry. One could be forgiven for thinking one was in a slightly posh apartment flat back in Carolina, rather than the royal quarters of a palace. Once they arrived, Keynes had called for tea, so they could all sit down, soothe their frazzled nerves, and try to make peace. They were all sitting together in the drawing room of the royal couple's private chambers. Keynes, Twilight, and Nix were seated on cushions around a tea table, with a full high tea set out for Twilight and Cadence. Shining Armor was taking his tea over a large, overstuffed chair by the fireplace, where he was nursing a bump on his head and, it has to be said, sulking a bit. All the adults had been a bit snappers at first, but hot tea and biscuits had worked their magic, and some sincere, if brief and somewhat non-committal apologies had finally crossed the room. Keynes regarded the source of contention, the filly sitting very still and quiet, and if Keynes was any judge, very wary, as he expected the slightest out of place to bring all sorts of trouble down, like any other fool who had got into a lot of trouble in the recent past. Considering the circumstances, he was probably right. The Princess Love realized what had been his sympathy. Her husband and sister-in-law had apologized, but the tension in the air was palpable. It was hard to believe that this was the fairy Algor who conquered Equestria. No, heck with that. It was darn near impossible. The second thing she noticed was an absence of a cup and saucer. Didn't the maid set you a cup of tea, dear? She asked. Kate shook her head no. No, ma'am, she said very softly in her glass harmonica voice. Her what? Okay, so Nix's voice has been described as a bell and a glass harmonica. What? Kate found a cup and saucer and a tea card and set them out for her. She poured out a half cup of tea, put the sky next to the cup on the saucer, and placed it down in front of Billy. Thank you, Nix said. With great focus and care, Nix lifted the cup to her mouth, took a careful sip and set it down. She dabbed her mouth with a napkin, took a bite of her sky, and repeated. Well, can't fault her for manners at tea, King muttered to Twilight, amused. Afraid I can't claim credit for that, Twilight confessed. Verity's the one who's been giving her lessons. Oh, really? Yeah, high tea and all sorts of other lessons in society etiquette. Twilight said. She rolled her eyes. Of course, it's Karen Ballas by Rainbow Dash giving her belting lessons. Keynes laughed at that. Between her and Applejack trying to teach her rodeo, she's getting an interesting upbringing. Nix was doing her best to be very quiet and very, very still and not bother anyone. But there's no suppressing her natural inquisitiveness. Ever since they arrived at the capital, she'd been asking questions, tickling in the back of her mind that this wouldn't stop. She cleared her throat. Princess Cadence or Auntie Cadence? What should she go with? Um, Auntie Cadence? Why is everything in here sparkling like everywhere else? Frankly, it was the first thing Ophelia noticed. It had quite relieved to take off her sunglasses while her eyes started to hurt. Cadence smiled self-consciously. Shiny and I convinced the interior decorators to use Caroline furniture and finishers. She said, we were getting a little homesick. Besides which, pretty as it is, all that crystal cleaning everywhere gets a little bothersome after a while, Shiny said ruefully. Nix nodded, rubbing her head with her hoof. How do you keep it from giving you a headache? She asked meekly. Candace's puzzled look, Twilight explained. Nix's eyes are kind of sensitive, she explained. We found out that Nix's eyes are more like a nocturnal animal. So you can see incredibly well in the dark, but that makes them very sensitive to bright light. Candace leaned in to look at Nix's eyes. Ah, I see, she said. She even has Tapa Lucia. At Nix's puzzled look, Twilight clarified. Eye shine. You know how opal's lights reflect light? Nix nodded. It's because she has a shiny surface at the back of her eyes, like you do. Despite himself, Shining Armor was intrigued. Must make it easy to read at night, he grunted. Or stick around in the dark when no one's awake. He couldn't help but thinking. He repressed a shiver at the thought. Alone in the dark. Nothing but those two gleaming eyes peering at you. Anyway, the reason Cadence and I don't get headaches is because of the crystal lens implants, he said. The what? Blake said. The lens implants in our eyes, Cadence said. She leaned in and pointed her eye with a hook tip. See? Twilight looked. Indeed, Cadence's pupil had the crystally reflective look she noted in their native ponies. You mean they took a scalpel, cut into your eye, and stuck a piece of glass inside? Twilight exclaimed. He's shiny, just you! Twilight started advancing. I'm with her on this. You used magic, Cadence chuckled. Didn't feel a thing. Still kind of horrifying! The crystal ponies are born with these little crystal lenses naturally. Really? Nick said, suddenly interested. Do their coats sparkle like that when they're born too? Or is it because of crystal heart magic? And why? She remembered herself. Sorry, she said at bass, following silently as he spoken. Cadence blinked. The filly seemed worse than shy, almost wary in fact. That's all right, dear, Cadence said. And yes, actually, crystal ponies are born sparkly, as you put it. The crystal heart does make it brighter. She paused. What else were you about to ask? She said patiently. Nick bare lip. Why does it make our coats all sparkly? We're not crystal ponies. Cadence was surprised. That's a rather good question, she said. I think, well, I think it's because the crystal heart is powered by love and happiness. Those things bring out the sparkle in anyone, whether or not they're a crystal pony. I kinda like that, Twilight said with a smile. So that's why crystal ponies go all shiny when they're not when they're happy, whether the crystal heart's there or not, right? Nick said. Well, I know they go all dark and unsparkly when they're scared or sad. Nick's being to being clever enough to figure this out. Miss Fluttershy was saying you have a protective adaptation, Twilight corrected automatically. Uh-huh. Yeah, Nick said. Because you wouldn't want to be all sparkly shiny if you were being chased by a monster or something. At least I knew I wouldn't. Nick amended. Huh. Never thought of that. Shining Armor thought to himself. The little ex-nightmare was certainly clever enough. But, are they Cadence? Nick asked. Oh, I saw what you did there, Shining Armor thought. Why does the crystal heart change ponies' manes? We came in through the barrier and made Mommy's hair all done up and pretty like. She pantomimed doing her mane up her head. There were ribbons in her tail and stuff and... He threw her head back and laughed. That's the fault of one of the rulers before King Sombra. Queen Fabulosity wasn't the best ruler ever, but she was certainly fanciful. She dedicated the first 5 years... Somebody please get a hand on the formatting! Rule casting a stylish fear spell on the crystal heart, and copying our favorite hairstyles into it. What does he do for the next 5 years? Nick asked. Trying to keep from being lynched by all the hairdressers he put out of business for 5 years. Shining Armor said dryly. He smirked. Her husband was furious, he had. She wasted a fortune and tampered with the heart. He actually made the nobles unite and depose her, transferring the crown to him. The fighting and feuding between the two of them. There was almost a civil war. Shining Armor suddenly flushed to God from his seat. If you need me, I'll be in my study, he said brusquely, leaving the room. There was sound of the door closing quite firmly elsewhere in his suite. Oh dear, Cadence said. She set her teacup and looked away. What just happened? Twilight asked, setting her cup down. It's nothing, Cadence said. Twilight reached across the table and put her hug to her old babysitter's lips. Don't say it's nothing, Twilight said. It's me, remember? You don't tell me, I'm just going to research you to death till I find out. Cadence smiled, but she sighed wearily. It's just that, where do I begin? It's a couple of things, really. Shiny's still kind of smarting over what happened with... She glanced over next. Oh, was all Twilight said. It was bad enough after Chrysalis. You remember how long it took for him to forgive himself after being controlled by that bug? Kane grimaced. Within not a year later, he's brainwashed again by Nightmare Moon. That wasn't Nyx, Twilight protested. It was spelled Nexus. He was the one who was spraying Nightmare Moon's blessing to everyone, Twilight started. Even used it on me. Nyx was the one who had to undo the curse on everyone, including Nexus himself. Kane shook her head. That isn't how Shiny sees it, she said. And even so, it was Nightmare Moon, Nyx. Got past all his guards and defenses, and his taxes like they weren't even there. He was humiliated by that. The fact that we were on opposite sides of the rebellion, that he was made to fight against me, he's never quite forgiven himself for that. I'm sorry, Nyx said, stricken. Her eyes filled with guilt. I'm so sorry. Kane looked at her for a moment in memory of pain. Being an outlaw, on the run, and that order of her own husband pricked her heart. Nyx, I'm afraid sometimes I'm sorry doesn't fix what's broken, she said, a tad sharper than she intended. She grinned an instant later when she saw the look on Nyx's face, but she held her tongue. Whatever else, it was a lesson Nyx needed to learn. There's more to it than that, so I said. Keans nodded. But it is all tied together, in a way, she said. You know the Crystal Empire is different from Camelot, as you probably guessed from my little story about Queen Famulosity. The Empire only has one ruler. Even if you have a husband or wife, they're the only one who wears the crown. Both may reign, but only one will rule, Twilight recited. I read in the Camelot Guide to the Crystal Empire. Exactly, Kate said. And as I am the Crystal Princess, Shining Armor doesn't have any authority. In fact, since the court have basically, well, they've used their authority to demand he step down as commander of the military and captain of the guard and find a replacement. Why? Twilight gasped in shock. But Shining lives for that! He dedicated his life to being in the guard! I know, but Crystal Empire tradition and law demands otherwise. I got around it by issuing a royal decree, but the couriers switched tactics. They dug up the changeling invades in the Nightmare Moon Rebellion, and have been waving them as proof of Shining Armor unfit for duty. Cadence kept her composure, but she couldn't look Twilight in the eye, and had to set her teacup down because it was old saying. He's been spending the past week reviewing candidates for his own replacement. Oh no, Twilight said. Cadence has a smile. So you can imagine, she said. This nonsense has been keeping his wounds fresh. It's making it a little hard for him to forgive and forget. Then we show up, Twilight groaned. Worst timing ever. It's hardly your choice when you would be asked to come reorganize the library, Kate said, though it might have been better if Nix had stayed home this time. Twilight shrugged. Applejack and her family had to travel to Manhattan, she said. Rarity, too, she had a fashion show. First, I was dealing with an outbreak of flu in her animal friends. Rainbow Dash was going to Wonderbolt's flight camp. And Piggy Pie, well, the Cake Twins are still scaring Nix. Excuse me, please, Nix said suddenly. She pressed her cold tea and unfinished biscuit away and got to her feet. What is it, Nix? Twilight asked. Nothing, she said. I'm just going to lie down for a while. Twilight was hardly fooled, but she let it slide. Try not to wake up Spike, she said. Nix nodded and immediately left. Mother and Aunt kept on talking after she left. The sweet sea and Twilight and Spike were singing and were connected by a short hallway. She went in and closed the door behind her, shutting out the sound of voices. Spike was already there. He'd taken one look at the bystanders, luxurious bed to put out for him, and after assuring Twilight he didn't need anything, caught down on it at the spot. He was there right now, sprawled out on a feather mattress, snoring like a drowning warhog. Nyx snarked in spite of her mood, carefully made her way across the bedroom to her own bed. She tossed herself into it and pulled the downy blankets up over her head, hiding herself from the world. This was not turning out to be a fun trip. Although Luna managed to refer Nyx to her fullhood innocence, even before becoming Nightmare Moon, for had been far from stupid. Several months as a full-grown alicorn, and her own past as Luna's alter ego, had left her far more than precarious. Like most fillies her age, she actually had a fair familiar grasp of what was going on, and every point she started talking politics. Once she heard, she was fairly capable of filling in the blanks and reaching the obvious conclusion. She cost Shining Armor his job. Nyx's stupid access as Nightmare Moon cost her new uncle Shining Armor his job. No wonder he hated her. No wonder he and Aunt Cadence were so tense. Nyx had to fix this. Aunt Cadence was right. No matter how serious he was, sorry wouldn't fix anything. Well, what do you do when you don't have anything else to fix things with?